All right, thank you guys for joining us here for another Health Truth Life video. Happy New Year. We haven't seen you guys since last year. It's been a while.
New Year. Yeah, that's right.
Glad to be back.
I know, yeah. Did you recover yet from the holiday?
It was fun, man. We had a blast. Great time with family. You know, glad to be getting back into the swing of things, though, with work and getting back to our routines. It's good to have the balance and the work-life back, you know. So.
It is funny. You look forward to the holidays.
Yeah.
You in general, we all do, right?
Yeah.
But it is good to get back into routine because it's consistent and it's something you can expect, and like your body knows what to expect. I think travel holidays are fun, but they can be tiring. You know, they can be challenging emotionally, physically.
Yeah. It's a blessing, but you're right. Glad to be back. So today we're actually going back into the matrix here. We're going to be going under activity, and we're going over recreation down here. You know
what number is that?
Is it 11?
It's 11.
11.
That's right.
We're on number 11.
Yeah.
We're tracking. You tracking with me?
I'm tracking. Yeah.
Right. So we're going over recreation. And I love this one. It's a fun one. I love recreation. You know, I have 3 boys. It's fun to get out there and have fun with them. And then, just on my own, even getting out in nature and just spending time, in creation.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it too. So this one's great. I'm excited to go over it. So I love the quote you have up here. It says, "All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy."
Or Tim.
Or Jason, exactly, Could happen to all of us.
So recreation, kind of just to give a definition, is, Jason and I are kind of talking about this and want to put this out there that we consider it part of our matrix, because recreation is simply the fact or the process of recreating or creating anew. And what I liken it to is just play for play's sake. Has nothing to do with competition. You really don't win in recreation. The whole point of recreation is not to compete. It's simply just to have fun and to do an activity that is simply just for the joy of the activity.
It's interesting because I think that's become a challenge for us these days. And as you were saying that, I was just realizing not even the competition part of it, but then too, now it seems like everybody's doing things to try to capture it on video or a picture. So then that kind of, I noticed, that sucks the joy out of things. So we need to get back to just doing things for pure enjoyment, you know?
Yes. And if I think about, what is recreation, right? What do you, what is play? What is recreation? I kind of got to go back to childhood and what a child would see as being fun and joy-filled. And particularly that age of 2 to 7, where I think back to my boy's age. It's probably, again, I love a lot of the phases, or many of the phases of our kids' lives, but that 2 to 7 is pretty sweet. There's a lot of innocence there. There's also just wonder, that whole concept of wonder, and the concept of simply just playing for playing's sake. And I love how, it said, seek the kingdom of God like a child. Because simply that faith and that play, that joy of a child, man, that's where the kingdom of God is seen. The kingdom of God is light and spirit and joy and living in the moment, not tomorrow, not yesterday, not for competition, not for likes on social media, but for the joy in the moment.
I think kids at that age, they're able to do that because they're just free. They're not stressed about things. They're not worried about providing and, jobs and school. And, obviously, they're entering into the school phase. But even then, it's so cool to see a kid going into VPK and kindergarten. Like, they're just pumped to have fun with their friends. It's not a stressful thing. It's just, a fun thing. So for us to be able to get to that point as adults, it's fun. I think you can achieve. You can get back to that and have those moments where you are free and able to get back in, if it's in creation, outdoors, or wherever you enjoy those moments, we can. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about here and encourage people with. You started this one out, though. I like it. You kind of talked about it a little bit. Truthfully, we all desire to have joy in our life, and many times that joy comes by recreating the essence we knew when we were a child. When we were a child, life was simple, and playing was a manifestation of creativity, spark, and wonder. So where did the wonder go? And more importantly, how do we get that sense of wonder back? So that's kind of, it's great. That's what we're going to talk about.
Mm.
Recreation is simply the idea of creating again, and the basic definition is to play. Life has so many opportunities to allow for play, yet often as an adult, we get stuck in a world that bases our value on work, productivity, accomplishing, and economic advancement. I love this line here. There is certainly nothing wrong with making career strides or achieving great things. However, if promotion and profit are lauded at the cost of peace and play, then we may ultimately find ourselves bored, stressed, frustrated, and dare I say, boring.
Yes.
And that's what we've become, if we're not careful and we're not making an effort, a conscious effort to play with our kids, to get out and on our own and in recreation, out in nature, to find that time.
And what we talked about heart rate variability in the sympathetic nervous system. So again, going back to definition, sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight. Heart rate variability is a measure potentially that may show if you're more in fight or flight or not. If you have a lower heart rate variability, you potentially are more in sympathetic fight or flight nervous system. Recreation and playing for play's sake actually increases the parasympathetic nervous system and reduces sympathetic nervous system tone. So it improves your rest recovery component of the nervous system. Play puts you into that. So that's where, this all ties into, the physiology that we want you to have as an individual. That's not given with a medication.
Right.
It's not given with a diagnosis. A doctor doesn't give you this. A nurse doesn't give you this. A surgeon doesn't. Those are all great. Doctors, nurses, surgeons. We need those people doing those things.
Sure.
The point is, recreation is I'd say a drug you can give yourself. It simply does provide such benefit to the stress system and to your body physically, emotionally, spiritually.
I love it because we're not just recommending it because it's fun, but because of the health benefits. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you're going to receive benefits from doing this.
Absolutely.
There's actually, I looked up a couple different studies. There's one that the University of Utah Health did, and they looked at the benefits of specifically outdoor recreation. And it said their research indicates that they were cognitively stimulated, more creative, energized, and relaxed with regular recreation, especially when they were out in nature. So they had two groups. They looked at one that they did send out in nature for recreational purposes, and they came to this conclusion that they were a lot more creative, energized, and relaxed than the ones who didn't, the group that didn't. And then two, they went on, the study showed that not only does a balance of work and recreation improve our physical and mental health, but it also positively influences our occupational, emotional, and social health as well. So recreation, especially in nature, helps our brains relax and stimulates us cognitively, which results in greater productivity at work. Our brains also release more serotonin, a happiness hormone, which improves our moods, relieves stress, and makes us better colleagues, friends, and family members. In addition, recreational programs in a community can drive overall health outcomes and improve quality of life.
Love it.
So I love it too. It's true. Like we just went out this past weekend. It's holiday season. You got some time with family, and we went to. There's a new park out in Beulah, the Navy Federal Park out there. It's really nice. Basketball courts, soccer field, baseball field. So we went out there with a bunch of family, and they got pickleball courts too. So we had several pickleball games going with family, and then got a soccer game going with the kids and a football game with the kids. And I know you talk about the competition part, so it is tough to find the balance, but we're out there just goofing off and having fun and playing sports together, and it is a blast.
That's awesome.
So there's always ways to do this, and we, especially here where we live in Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, there's parks everywhere. There's the beach. There's no reason to not find a way to get outdoors and enjoy.
And if you're listening to this, we're curious, what do you do for recreation? Put it down in the comments. First, we'd love for you to like and subscribe, but also interact with comments. What do you do? What are some options that you know of that work for you to put you in that play mode? and in that recreating mode, you know? So
yeah, I just talked about some of ours. I love sports with my family and my friends, and then paddleboarding is one that I love, or getting out and fishing and paddleboarding. I could do that, all day. I really enjoy it. So yeah, for you, what's something you want to do more in 2024, recreational wise?
I went for a walk with Crystal by the Naval Live Oaks. We were looking at just some property back there just to see what's back there, and it was nice just to be out there in nature. I mean, life slows down when you're in that moment, and like you said, and like was reported, nature is a big part of that. So another thing that I do like golf, but I do find that this time of life, or this phase, I feel like there's a lot of things I'm doing and navigating that I don't often give myself the grace to get 5 hours on a golf course. And so I'm challenged with that, because I do love golf because of the nature component and the fun of it. But yeah, I mean, I'm mindful of the exercise component. I get away from things with that. And I consider that some recreation, but that's something I have to work on. Recreation to me is one of my challenges as being, I think it's being a physician, having, again, that mode of kind of a type A personality. There's always something else to do. There's always another patient to manage or find something we can help with. And so I'm challenged with it, but I've got one of my sons, my youngest son, both enjoy recreation, but the younger one, has kind of a significant play mode in the sense where he's always wanted to be outside doing something, recreating something. And my story in the recreation matrix concept fits to that, because he's in the moment, you know? So
I love that. Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and tell us that story?
So basically, I mean, this was probably a Saturday many years ago, and I think Wesley was probably 10 or 11 at the time, and it was raining outside, and I was probably doing some chores inside, or maybe even doing some work. And he comes over to me and says, "Hey, Dad, will you go with me to the baseball fields? And I'm going to take a boogie board, just go over there and just kind of boogie board in the water on the baseball fields." And I said, "Son, it's cold and wet outside. It's raining." And it probably wasn't that cold. I think it was probably like a spring. So it was probably cool, but not cold. And I'm like, I don't want to get wet. I don't want to go in the rain, And he looked at me like, boring. Why not? Exactly, exactly. So I go, okay, you know what? This is an invitation to kind of, go be with my son. And I'm like, you know what? Kid wants to go. I got a raincoat on. I may or may not have gotten an umbrella. We went out to the baseball fields at the rec center, Gulf Breeze, and of course I went into the dugout and watched Wesley boogie board on the little, little water that had been set along the second or third base line. Check the box by going there.
Be a good dad.
Exactly. So then after about 5 minutes, Wesley looks at me and he's like, "Aren't you coming out here?" And I said, "Dude, I don't want to get wet." Same thing that I said before. Lame-o. So in my mind, I am thinking, gosh, that's the most lame excuse. But then honestly, just this wonderful discernment of like, man, I may never get this opportunity. You know what's funny? We haven't been out again in 2 years to do something like this. This was an invitation to join him in his childhood and me to go back to my childhood. And I went out there for 15 minutes, got nasty, muddy, fell a couple times, but was careful enough to where I tried to break anything. Boogie boarded on those little, little water that had been set on the second base or third base line, and we had a ball, just laughing.
I gotta say, how did it make you feel?
It was awesome. It's awesome.
Great.
And it's one of those things where, gosh, how can I do that more often? And so actually, as I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna go back and say, hey, Wes or Den, what do you want to do for fun, this weekend? Because I don't do that enough, and that's something that. That's my challenge for myself, is to be more in the moment and be more in the play.
I love it. That's a great story. And I love how simply you put this. How do we break this spell of being lame and boring and staying in the dugout?
Did I say that?
You said, well, you alluded to this, but this part right here you did. You said, how do we break this spell? That was the question you asked. And I love it. Because you said, it's easy. If you know a child, then ask them what they want to play, and then simply follow their lead. Kids just have this naturally in them. They're still young and innocent and sweet and just know how to have fun. So I love it. If you have kids of your own or nieces and nephews, go ask them, hey, what do you want to do? What would be fun for you to do? And then follow their lead. Go for it. Don't stay in the dugout. Play, let go of your doubts, fears, emotions, whatever it is. Obviously be safe. You were mindful of that. You don't want to hurt yourself, but for me, last summer, and this has happened probably every summer for the last several years, we go to the beach quite a bit, and I love surfing. And I'll catch myself, I teach my boys and I push them into waves and I do all that, but then I want to go catch my own waves and have fun on the bigger waves. And so then inevitably I'll see them playing and riding their boogie boards in closer, and I'll go in there and I have so much more fun. And I do feel like a kid again when I just am boogie boarding with my kids. Just not competing, not trying to catch bigger, better, or whatever, just being with my own kids and my wife. And we're just cracking up as we're, hitting each other and swerving and riding down the waves, and such a blast. Yeah,
I love it, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
Too. It's so good. Recreation is good for the soul, as it brings joy to the moment and allows for good memories to be stored for those dark seasons of our lives that we never see coming. God was so gracious to impart in us a desire to experience the light in recreation. And I love that. That's a God-given thing. You're right. There was a verse that I looked up where Jesus is talking to the disciples, and he actually says, it's in Mark 6:31-32, and he said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest for a while. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat." So they were so busy and so preoccupied, they didn't have time to slow down and eat. And they went away in the boat to a desolate place to be by themselves. So this just alludes to and hits on the fact that we've got to take time to slow down and get away. And I love it too, because Jesus did this as well. He was good about getting away in creation, And there's just something life-giving in that, getting alone in creation. And ideally, yes, they were going away to be replenished and restored. And it's the Sabbath, God himself rested on day 7. He worked 6 days, and on the 7th he rested. And he wants us to do the same. And it's because he knows the benefit and the value of it,
The Sabbath is for man.
Sabbath. Yeah, it's for man.
It's for man. Yeah, it's a great point. And I think, gosh, what a charge for all of y'all to consider getting back to being in a moment of allowing yourself to be playful and to recreate and just to, like you said, leisure, right? So leisure, recreation, rest, recovery, rejuvenation, getting away from the competition, and restoring that creativity that God gave us to be in nature and at rest. So
man, it's all good. There's a song that I wanted to bring up that actually hits on, and the name of it is "Child Again." So it's a really good band that we like, Need to Breathe. If you get a chance, look it up, YouTube, listen to it. It's a great video, great song. But there's a couple lines in it I'm going to read. And the lead singer, he starts out by saying, "Yeah, I know too much. I think I know my way around. Too smart to feel a heartbreak now. Too old to let my safeguards down. And where did the wonder go? I traded magic for a measured hope. Traded dreaming for a worn out road. I'm tired of being in control." And then he says, "In the cosmic light, in the by and by, I want to see your heart through my younger eyes. I want to hear your voice in the rain and wind. I want to know it's safe to be a child again." So good, man, so
That's
good.
Isn't
it?
Yeah.
So let's find these ways to get back to being a child again, and knowing that, ultimately as believers, we are safe. We can be children because we have a Father who's providing and looking out for us. So there is the ability to be restful and peaceful and just to have fun and goof off and be silly. We don't have to take ourselves so serious, we can still have fun and play and enjoy life. God designed this world, and you said this too, this world, this creation is filled with so many things for us to enjoy. Like I said, I love surfing. The fact that he made the water where these waves will just build from a storm or from a groundswell from way far out, and the fact that he gave man the ability to figure out how to create boards and to jump up on them and ride them, to pick up a stick and a ball and hit it 300 yards, and there's 310. You hit a car path and it just kept rolling. Right?
That 20 years ago, maybe 310.
Right. But there's so many amazing things to get out and enjoy, and so life was created for us to enjoy and to find recreational things. So get out there and do it. There are a couple last notes here. We have Yeah, recreation lowers stress and improves mood.
Mhm.
This is what, we just talked about. The world is a playground, and recreational opportunities are all around us.
Mm.
So there's no reason you can't say there's nothing for me to
Yeah,
do, or
no
I don't
excuses.
like anything. Like, oh man, there's a plethora
Don't
of
be
things.
so boring,
Right.
Tim.
Don't be lame and boring.
That's right.
Enjoy things. Life
Yeah.
is good.
Uh-huh.
So what activities allow you to return to the joy you experienced as a child? So get back to that. Think about what those things are. And I'm in my early 40s, and I'm getting to a point where I can't do the surfing as intense or as much as I want to, but I still can. So I can let my mind go and kind of get in the dumps a little if I allow it, or I can thank God for the fact that I still can get up and I can do what I can do. So there are always things that you can still enjoy. Don't let negative thoughts or what you think are disabilities keep you from doing things. Find ways to still enjoy it. Just make the most of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Great stuff. Honestly, recreate, and find those times. We really appreciate y'all listening. Again, Happy New Year. And, this is just an encouragement to try and find ways where we can empower you as individuals to where it's not that you don't need doctors or medicine, but it's like these are things and tools to give you the strength to live outside of stress, to live with more power with respect to what you're eating. Those 3 questions: what am I putting in my mouth? What am I allowing in my mind? And what am I doing with my body? So thank you guys again. We'll have another video next week for Matrix Concept 12, which will be media, discussing what we bring into our mind through our eyes and through our ears, and how it has an effect on our lives physically, spiritually, emotionally. But thank you again. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
God bless and take care.
See you soon. Thanks.